Hi, this is Lavinia Lee from Vincent Music. Today we are gonna talk about intervals. So it's more about the theory. So intervals is like the connection or the distance between several notes, mostly between two notes. So for example, from here goes to here, how many intervals are there? So there are so many advantages from learning intervals. Firstly, especially if you are learning notes from the score, so it's like reading notes, it's easier so that you don't have to always start from middle C and then count one by one, space line to the note that you want to read. And then for intervals usually is for distance between semitones and tones. So a little summary about semitone and tones is that if you look through the keys, there are black and whites, right? So if we say scales, we just use all white keys, for example, C major, all white keys. And there are distance in between. But then if we want to look from semitones and tones, we look towards the chromatic scale. So that means it's included white and black keys. So for example, this white, and then the next note will not be D, but the next note will be the flat or the C sharp, the black key. Okay, and then white. So it's in all keys are included. And then so semitone means half. So that means you jump one time from one key to the other one. So for example, if you up a semitone, jump one time. If you go down a semitone, jump one time. So a semitone this is the distance. This is a semitone. And then for example, if you have two white keys, for example E, if you go up a semitone, so that means you jump one time, even though it's not black key, but you just jump up one time, it's half note, so it's a semitone. Okay, so it doesn't matter, it has to be like white and black or black and white. It can be white and white as long as it only jumps like one time. And then for tone is like one note, so you jump two times. For example, C, one time, this is a semitone, and then if you go up a tone, that means you jump two times. 1, 2, this is a tone. So you up a tone, and then if you go down a tone, that is a tone. So intervals we have like a distance between more than a tone. For example, C to G. So the intervals between C to G is, so intervals you don't have to look at flat or sharp or like how many flat, how many sharp. You just need to know this one, C to G. So C to D is 2, 3, 4, 5. So the interval between this C to G is fifth. So it's called a major fifth. So intervals, we will talk more detailedly about intervals. But overall, if you have sharp or flat, just ignore the sharp or flat. You just focus on the letter names, the C for example, focus on C. And then if there is G sharp for example, C to G sharp, what's the interval? It's fifth, because you have C to D is 2, 3, 4, 5, so fifth. And then how to differentiate between C and G sharp, C and G flat, C and G, how to differentiate all that. So we normally use major scales. So always go towards the very lowest note. So C major scale. The G on C major scales is natural, right? So it's on white keys, so it's a major fifth. But if you have intervals for fourth, fifth, and eighth, so those we change major to perfect. Okay, so intervals, there are two types. The ones with the normal intervals, for example, like 2, 3, 6, 7, those are normal intervals. And then for 4, 5, and 8, those are the special ones, so it's quite different. So if it's major, for example, C major, if it's major, so we if it's fifth, we use perfect. But if it's normal key, for example, C to D is second, right? So it's called major second. And then there are major, minor, augmented, and diminished. And then for the fourth and fifth, we don't use minor, we use diminished. Okay, so let's not talk about the fourth, fifth, and sixth first. We'll talk the normal scale. So if, for example, C to E, third, right? The interval is third. And then C to E sharp. C to E sharp. So we start from C major scales. The E from E major scales is natural. And then E, the interval is E sharp. So that means if you up a semitone, that means it's augmented. So augmented third. And then if you go down the semitone, for example, C to E flat, so it's called minor third. And then if it is down like a tone, for example, C to E double flat, it's called a diminished third. Okay, so it's quite hard. You just need to know that if it's the normal scale from the major scales, if it's natural, or like if it's normal, exactly the same as the keys inside the scales, or keys in nature inside the scales, it's called major. And then if it's up, if the higher note is up a semitone, then the major scales inside the keys, it's called augmented. And then if it's down a semitone, it's called minor. And then if it's down a tone, it's called diminished. Okay, so another example is C to A is 6, right? So it's not special, it's the normal one, 6. C to A is the higher note. And then A inside C major scales is natural, so it's the normal one, so it's C major, major sixth. Okay, and then if I say C to A sharp, so A sharp, it's up a semitone than the normal scale, because normal scale from C major, the A is natural, right? So if up a semitone, so it's called augmented sixth. And then if it's down a semitone, for example, C to A flat, it's minor sixth. And then if it's double flat, down a tone, it's called diminished sixth. Okay, if you have any question, write it down. Thank you.